In the drama Casino, the character Charlie commits a crime that is taken from a real-life incident in a Philippine sugarcane field. He ran a seafood company in the Philippines and provided refuge to 3 Koreans on the run for financial crimes in exchange for their hidden funds to finance his gambling business. When a dispute over money distribution arose, he ended up killing them. Now, let's dive into the case of Pagang, famously dubbed the Drug King. The case of Pagang, who evolved from a murder instigator to a drug lord, began on the morning of October 11, 2016. A farmer in Bacolor, north of Manila in the Philippines, discovered blood seeping from his densely overgrown sugarcane field. The gruesome find was a body brutally executed and dumped without any effort to hide it. The hands and feet were tied, and a bullet hole was in the head. After digging a bit, investigators identified the victim as a Korean. It turned out that this person was a high-up from an investment company located in Seochodong, Seoul, South Korea. Earlier that year, they had been onto something big, creating an FX trading system to predict future currency fluctuations and raking in profits, all while pulling in investors. Of the 4 representatives, 1 was apprehended and received a sentence of around 1 year and 6 months back in Korea. After just a year of establishing the corporation and being chased by the police for illegal fundraising activities, the remaining 3, Mr. Pak, Mr. Ming, and Mr. Shim, fled with 13.8 billion won from 260 investors. Then just a few months into their run, they were found savagely murdered in a sugarcane field in the Philippines, and the money was nowhere to be found. The hunt for clues was on, but the Philippine investigation was tough, relying on the Korean team on the ground. So Korea had to send forensic squads and criminal profilers to the Philippines. During the joint investigation, the team searched the victim's house and lifted fingerprints of 2 individuals from a Coca-Cola can. Additionally, Pagang's DNA was found on the tape used to bind the victims. Through CCTV and witness questioning, both Pagang, a casino operator in the Philippines, and a Korean named Kim Chun-soo were identified as the culprits behind the sugarcane field murders. Known to have been born on September 15, 1978, Pagang had been in the seafood distribution business in Korea and consistently denied any involvement during the initial interview conducted by the Korean community in the Philippines following the murder. He tried to prove his innocence by showing his website and providing a plausible alibi. He claimed he had a sudden meeting in Manila the evening before the incident and was dropped off by a local fast food restaurant. Despite his efforts to clear his name, it wasn't long before he became a prime suspect for orchestrating the murder in the Philippines, putting him squarely on the authorities' watch list. The story goes that the victims were referred by Pagang's sister, who herself was tangled up in a similar sketchy financial scheme. They had escaped to the Philippines and stashed 700 million won in a casino safe, a casino, incidentally, that Pagang ran. In exchange for this financial favor, they were given sanctuary. But things took a turn for the worse when Pagang, whose casino was losing money, talked them into pouring their funds into his failing venture. He promised to pay them back if they invested, but when they pressed him for the return of their money, the situation escalated, ultimately leading to the deadly crime. Pagang lured Kim Chun-soo, who had previously invested 50 million won into Pak's business in Korea and had not received any repayment, with the promise of a 100 million won payment to come to the Philippines and act as a hitman. After the murders, Pak gleefully spent not only the roughly 2.8 million won found on the victims, but also the 750 million won they had entrusted to him. Kim Chun-soo later testified that it was actually Pagang who pulled the trigger, while he just helped with the crime. Pagang, surprisingly confident, underestimated both the Philippine police and the Korean police. His identity, however, was swiftly revealed. Kim Chun-soo was quickly arrested upon his return to Korea, but Pak, who stayed in the Philippines, was not easily caught. Yet, the dedication of Korean desk inspector Lee Ji-yoon made a difference. By piecing together clues from a napkin seen in a social media photo uploaded by Park Kwang-yeol's girlfriend, he pinpointed it to a restaurant in a Manila condo. Finally, on November 17th, Park Kwang-yeol was captured 37 days after the crime. But this arrest wasn't the close of this case. It was merely the opening chapter. After being caught at the end of 2016, Park Kwang-yeol, who was supposed to be held in a Philippine immigration detention center known for its lax security, was allegedly spotted threatening a Korean expat to return his investment. The Korean community was shocked to see Park, who should have been behind bars, freely roaming the streets and reportedly armed. This news soon reached Korea. Even while in detention during an interview with a Korean investigative show, he appeared relaxed and untroubled, maintaining his innocence as if he was just on a casual break. As many had feared, after only a few months in detention, Pak managed to escape by breaking through a straw roof, easily bypassing the guards. By June 2017, just 3 months after his escape, Korean law enforcement recaptured him. They added a new charge to his list of offenses: drug possession. Initially, they assumed the drugs were for personal use, not aware that this was just a hint of what was to come. Throughout 2018, the Korean Ministry of Justice kept pressing for his extradition, sending numerous requests to the Philippines. However, the Philippine authorities kept delaying the process, citing Pak's ongoing trial for the multiple murders as the reason. The 13.8 billion won stolen from the Korean victims in the sugarcane field remained unaccounted for. As this mystery persisted, those linked to Park Kwang-yeol's operation began to strangely acquire wealth, purchasing properties and vehicles. In 2019, while on trial in the Philippines, Pak executed his second escape, this time by breaking through the bathroom ventilation during a court recess. This escape was shockingly enabled by a police officer who, after receiving a request from Pak's local girlfriend to treat him to a meal, allowed him a food stop en route from the courthouse, from which Pak slipped away. The restaurant owner later revealed that the police seemed aware of Pak's escape, but didn't act with urgency, leading to rumors that Pak's release wasn't just an oversight, but perhaps a deliberate act by some members of the Philippine police. So Pak, whom Korea was eager to extradite, vanished within the Philippines. Notably, during his 2-year imprisonment before his escape, Pak had built an alliance with Kim Yong-yeol, known as Sarah Kim, a notorious drug lord in Southeast Asia. A Filipino local shared that Park Kwang-yeol had gotten involved in drug trafficking while in prison before his first breakout. He had learned the details and methods from Kim Yong-yeol, making a deal to distribute the drugs to Korea and give a portion of the profits in return for the chances to escape and gain power. It was a poorly kept secret among the Korean community in the Philippines that even while Pak was at the Pikutan Detention Center, he was attempting to smuggle drugs into Korea. A Korean expat who was asked to deliver a package for Pak became suspicious of the contents. Upon checking, the expat found a significant quantity of drugs concealed within an iron and promptly reported it. Photographs documenting the hidden stash were taken in August 2018. From then on, drug-related headlines surged in Korea. As you might recall, the 2018 Burning Sun scandal sent shockwaves through South Korea. It revealed deep-seated corruption involving Gangnam police and notable celebrities, prompting a widespread crackdown on drug-related crimes. During this period, ex-K-pop star Park Yu-chun and his ex-girlfriend, Hwang Hana, granddaughter of Namyang Dairy Products founder, were in the limelight due to Hwang's drug abuse charges. The involvement of a business magnate's offspring drew public scrutiny, which in turn shed light on Telegram drug rooms and how they revolutionized drug trafficking methods. Then in 2021, Hwang Hana was under the scanner once more for suspected drug use with her spouse, Mr. Oh, and friend Mr. Nam. This investigation brought Pagang, who had fled to the Philippines, back into the spotlight. Here, Hwang Hana's friend, Mr. Nam, was more than just a casual drug purchaser. He was linked to Vatican Kingdom, a notorious sales network within the telegram drug trade that was pervasive in South Korea at the time. These were a new type of drug organization that opened up channels for easy online purchase of drugs during the era of COVID-19. After Hwang Hana's arrest warrant was reviewed and she denied all charges, the individual behind the telegram ID Vatican Kingdom was apprehended. Subsequently, on January 21, 2022, Hwang Hana received a sentence of 1 year and 8 months in prison. Vatican Kingdom was a drug operation managed by a 26-year-old who orchestrated multiple telegram drug channels, catering primarily to teens and young adults in South Korea. The mastermind behind this widespread drug network was Pagang. In the role of Sangson, a supplier in the telegram drug channels, and through an intermediary known as Hason, Pagang produced methamphetamine in the Philippines. To complicate the investigation efforts, he employed a distribution method known as throwing. The drugs would be left in predetermined locations for the buyers to retrieve, a process facilitated by a chain of 10 middlemen. South Korea, previously known as a nation with very low drug circulation, was shaken by the revelation that Pagang was behind the trafficking of an estimated 60 kilograms of drugs monthly, valued at around 30 billion won. His prior experience in the seafood distribution business, which demands high efficiency due to the need for freshness, seemed to have unexpectedly provided him with the skills necessary to run a sophisticated drug distribution network. Pagang's notoriety rose even further when it became widely known that he was also the key figure behind the Sugarcane field murders. As a result, tips began to flood in, leading to his recapture by the Philippine police in the Laguna region on October 28, 2020. While Kim Chun-soo, who was implicated as an accomplice in the Philippine sugarcane field murder, has been serving a 30-year sentence in South Korea since 2017, members of the Vatican Kingdom have received 10-year sentences. By 2022, Pagang had been handed a cumulative sentence of 60 years in the Philippines, with convictions for escape, drug offenses, and murder. Koreans living in the Philippines say that Pagang, who once earned money by introducing Korean customers to casinos, gained power by committing a 15 billion won case and fleeing to the Philippines, where he murdered the victims of the sugarcane field. Pagang, now a notorious figure in drug trafficking and a convicted murderer, appears to wield significant influence even within Philippine detention facilities. Reports suggest that he is treated as a VIP in prison, likely due to the corrupting influence of his wealth on the prison administrators. His status as a wealthy inmate allegedly makes him a prime target for those seeking to benefit from his riches, potentially facilitating favorable treatment or even another escape. The concern over another possible escape is compounded by Pagang's past as the telegram drug king, where he was able to generate enormous sums of money, estimated at 30 billion won per month. The substantial income from his drug trafficking operation may provide him with the means to corrupt officials and circumvent security measures. Despite South Korea's persistent attempts to have him extradited to face justice, the process has been mired in delays, with the Philippine government not responding to requests for temporary extradition measures. Meanwhile, allegations persist that Pagang continues to orchestrate drug sales from behind bars through members of his organization who remain at large. The situation illustrates the challenges of international law enforcement and extradition, especially when dealing with individuals who have the resources to exploit systemic weaknesses. That's all for today. Thanks for watching.